Question 14. Some of you may have done this question before. It's a fairly common question. The answer is 150 for part A and 11 for part B. I think part A is a lot more difficult than part B. Now, what do we know about part A? She baked some pies. She gave 1/5 of them to her relatives. And then she gave 30 of them to her friends. And she was left with 2/3 of the pies. Not too sure whether you recognize this, but this is a remainder concept. Specifically, a remainder type 2 concept. So you should go ahead and draw a model for this question. Okay, so we start off by dividing our model because she gave 1/5. So our big model, you cut into 5 parts first. Okay. So 1/5 given to the relatives. Now, the tricky part here is the 30. You don't actually know whether 30 is more than or less than 1 unit. But you know that you are left with 2/3 of the pies. So there is a 5 here and there is a 3 here. This is of the total. This is also of the total. And therefore, you should make them the same. So you should go ahead and cut it. 3 and 5, the common multiple is 15. So instead of working with what is indicating the 30, I indicate the 2/3 first. So 1 out of 5, I know is 3 out of 15. 2 out of 3, I can go and figure it out. Times 5, it is 10. Which means that I can indicate first the amount that is left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this part here is left. And therefore, this part over here must be the 30. If you try to indicate the 30 first, then it becomes a bit harder. It will still work out, but it becomes a bit harder. Then in that case, you probably want to draw a drop-down model instead. All right, but you can don't draw a drop-down model by indicating the 2/3 that is left first. And then you will find that the 30 must represent your 2 units. Okay? So you want to know how many pies were packed into the 18 boxes. So this is your 18 boxes. Correct? So the model tells you 2U is 30. So you go ahead and find what is 1U. And then 10U, which is your 18 boxes. 15 times 10 to give you 150. So you see that part A of the question is 3 marks. But if you drew your model correctly, not complicated at all. Okay, so the trick here, go and draw the fraction first instead of indicating the 30. So a lot of you follow the sequencing of the question, so you draw the 30 first, but it's easier to draw the fraction first, always. Okay, now, part B, how many boxes contain 6 pies? So PSLE very strange one. In 2018, which was also the paper that I went through last week, there were 2 guess and check questions. So in 2016, there are 2 assumption questions. So just now, the car question, we already did one assumption question, right? You will realize that this part B, is also an assumption question. Okay, some boxes contain 6 pies, the rest contain 12 pies. We know the total number of boxes. The total number of boxes is 18. So this is our total quantity. We have found total value in part A. This is my total value. So I'm given both the total quantity and the total value. And therefore, you can just use assumption. But of course, you are comfortable with guess and check. You can just use guess and check. You want to find 6 pies, right? So assume the opposite. So assume all boxes contain 12 pies. That will give you 18 boxes times 12 pies to give me 216 pies. Then I want to find my total difference. So I take my assumed total minus away the actual total, which is only 150 pies. Then I need to find each difference. Each difference is the difference between one big box and one small box. And then finally you divide. So 66 divided by 6 to give me 10. And remember that you always find the opposite of what you assume. So if I assume that they contain 12 pies, the opposite is 10 boxes. Wow. No one saw anything. Okay, and that's why the answer is 11. No one saw anything. If you want to use guess and check, of course, just go ahead and do guess and check. Nothing wrong. Just remember the conditions. You can use assumption when both the total value and the total quantity is given. If one of them is missing, for example, they give you difference in value, or they give you difference in quantity, or they don't even give you difference, they don't even give you quantity at all, then those you have to use guess and check. I have no idea what you're talking about, Carsten. Nobody saw anything. I also did not say that 66 divided by 6 is 10. There is no proof. Nothing happened. Yes, and I can edit the recording.